Hi, it's Amanda. We're back with the last part of our buddy read for Bittersweet by Sarina Bowen. This is chapters 21 through 29, which takes us to the end of the book, so we finally get to see what happens between Griff and Audrey and the entire family. So let's kind of go roughly through the storyline. What happens in this section, Natasha?
So we go through, she comes back and helps him out at the cider. He has her, because, mom has her foot's been injured, and so she kind of can't do much. So he thought maybe to kind of make her day, he was like, you know what, Mom, I'm going to put you and Audrey in the cider house and do the or the cider tastings. And, Audrey was kind of being funny about, not giving away all the free cider. So she's at the cider. He can almost hear the giggling, and just Griff feels like there's so much warmth and life when Audrey's around the family, and she just really kind of interacts well with the customers. And so as he was, walking by, he hears this laughter. He feels good about it. It's like this warm, fuzzy feeling that Griff gets. And Audrey's mom shows up, and they have all episodes knockout verbal attack, and it pretty much clears the cider house, because of the words and language that was used. And so Audrey's heartbroken. She just, she thought her mom would maybe see that she's happy, and her mom kind of goes from there. And so it's kind of hard. And I kind of actually felt for her, because it was kind of just one of those, hit you in your gut moment, just because of everything that she's gone through. And then she sees this warm family, with Griff's family. There's such a dynamic there that was just, I kind of felt for her that she didn't have that. She goes back to Boston to work. She's working, and kind of gets called back, and her and Griff kind of just, they don't talk. He's kind of heartbroken. He's just, even the family is just like, what do you, so she's there, and she was, prepping. She just doesn't know if this is the world she wants to be in too, down in Boston. She's kind of always felt like Vermont just has pull for her. She comes up with her idea for the pitch, which I think is a great pitch. I mean, I would love to go to this restaurant, don't you?
Well, I love food. So.
Yeah, me too.
So, but yeah, tacos are one of my favorite. All the different foods, you get to try so much stuff at one time. I think it was just a really great idea. But then, she's stuck in this dead-end job. All she's doing is chopping vegetables and, cleaning lettuce and zesting lemons and things like this. So it's kind of, does she want to start at the bottom, or does she want to, live out her dreams, that kind of thing. So she's kind of doesn't really know where she wants to be. And then we have Griff, who is missing her, and the whole family is kind of missing her. And then, every weekend they get the vegetable delivery, so she's always on the lookout for him in his truck, but it's never him until one day she hears his voice. And, it's like, is she dreaming in the middle of the kitchen? Is she like, but no, he really came. He came to steal her away for the weekend because she had some time off. He finally tracked her down where she was working and that kind of stuff through the company, which was really sweet. How did you feel about when he just came and got her and took her back to the farm? I mean, do you think he even knew that she needed that at that time?
It's one of those things that my favorite line in Pretty Woman, when Richard Gere shows up, in the limo and, flowers in hand, he's going to come and rescue his princess. I always like that. And I like that he showed up. It was that grand gesture. And I almost got Twitter pated for her and him, because it's just like you said, he's like, Audrey, he called out for her, and he just like, let's go. I'm taking you away. Come to Vermont for me for 3 days. And I just like how he went and found her. But I like how it came about that, because he went to the Goat, which I love this bar's name, by the way. If I had a bar, I would name it the Goat. And I like that Zara finally stood up for everything. I mean, don't you feel like that?
Yeah, she kind of took responsibility. Like, she realized she was not mad at Griff anymore. She realized, they didn't actually have anything. She was kind of blowing it out, and then she kind of forgave him and was just you know what, kind of wanted to be his friend and give him some advice because she saw how he was with Audrey and she knew that, you know, they were never like that. He acted different around her and everything. So she starts to kind of be his friend again. And this is where we find out that she's pregnant and he just kind of like freaks out until she reassures him that it's not his. But then she kind of gets him a little bit. It's like, you know, you had that reaction when I said that. What would you say if Audrey said that? And that was just one of those major swoony moments because he was like really thinking about it and super excited and everything, and that he's just the kind of guy that he is, and the feelings that he had towards her, and you know, then he does this grand gesture and rescues her, and it just kind of, this book was definitely full of the Griff swoons, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's like those. I've seen a lot of book groups, and people are like ovary explosion right there, and I just think that Griff gave a lot of those to people, and I think that's just him. You know, he listened to Zara, and she said, you know, she even said, you know, you got a grand gesture, and you know, he does something, and he goes to get her, brings her back home, and then I kind of just everything kind of spirals right here. You know, it's just like one thing after another. Griff asked her, "Hey, where's my contract for my beer? You know, I want you know, I need to get the contract signed." And so she calls her boss and she's like, "We're not signing with them. We got another guy that's going to be cheaper and be done." And she does something that I was kind of shocked she did. And that she calls her mom and said, you know, and then her mom's thinking she's arrested and, you know, doesn't think the good until she starts talking to her mom. And this is kind of where my thoughts of her mom changed a little bit. You know, she talks to her mom and her mom listens to her and says she's proud of her. And I don't think Audrey's ever heard that from her mom. And she's even said that I'd never heard my mom say those things. And they discuss a lot and she's going to look into it. And, you know, and they get back to Vermont and, you know, they're doing their motions. They have a good couple days together and you know, and then he goes to take her back. And don't you feel like that's kind of like where some stuff changed for them?
It is. They kind of, you know, she went to bat for the farmers and for him and everything, and it kind of really changed. But then you also have the change of her mom, which actually her going to her mom after that big blow up, they hadn't talked, they had anything. It really actually didn't surprise me because she's always known that if she needed something, if she needed help, she needed something, especially in the business world where her mom was part of, her mom would help her because that's what she wanted to do. So it really didn't surprise me that she would be so willing to talk to her and help her. Um, but the talk where she, you know, she finally realizes that this is something that Audrey is really proud of, something that she's really good at. You know, she hears the compliments from some of these other chefs that she's talking to and things like that about her produce and about her stuff, that she really it finally just clicks for her mom. And I really, really, really like that point for the relationship. And then once she kind of has that relationship a little bit more settled, I think that allowed her to kind of realize or feel more of her feelings towards Griff. You know, realize that that's where she feels more settled. You know, he's really settled and calm and happier, less grumpy Griff when she's around. And then she's not as flighty or anything when he's around. They kind of ground each other, which is a really good thing for both of them. And I think they're kind of feeling that now in this kind of little section that we're reading. And then she goes back to work and they find out that the other guys had an exclusivity contract, like clause in their contract, so he can't even sell them to anybody else. But just like how it always works, you know, it kind of works itself out. He gets a call from his mom when he's dropping her off in the city after they have this big blow up. You know, he feels that she let him down. She didn't get the contract. She feels bad because she thinks that she didn't, you know, hold up her end of the bargain. She was trying to get him a better price, and she thinks she's the one that screwed this up. So they're both, you know, thinking it's their fault, but not really talking. But he gets this call from his mom. And she's like, "You got this trophy in this letter." And he's like, "What?" So the cider that Audrey helped him pick out is actually won Best in Show and Best Cider. So it kind of bounced out, even though he didn't have this big contract, $40,000 all at once. It really helped him be able to market and sell his cider a little bit more. So he just goes up and finds her and kind of tells her this, and then just decides, I'm going to give her the choice. Does she want to come with me? Does she want to stay here? Does she want to pursue her dreams? I'm not going to stand in her way. If she does, I'll bring her back anytime she wants. But I really would like her, to come with me back to Vermont. I don't want to trap her at the farm or, take away her choice, but I really want her to be with him. He really wants her to be with him at the farm.
And I kind of like this because, he's just like, his mom says, get your butt back there. And he goes up there and he goes like, pack your bag. And, do you want to go to Vermont? And she just, everything is in like a small duffel bag, and they go and they get there, and it's nice to hear what the family says when they show up. It's just kind of like the mom says, it's about time.
And I know what took you so long.
It took you so long. And then the sister, like everyone in the family was so happy that she's back. And then, they're talking, and finally Grandpa shows up, and they tell Grandpa, and, they're like, Grandpa, you need to, Griff says, hey, Grandpa, it's time for you to move in the house here. And he goes, if Audrey makes me coconut rice. And I just thought that was kind of funny that, he's been, like, they've been nagging him, like, the mom has been nagging him this whole time, and he's like, I'll do it if she gives me the, makes me coconut rice. And so, that goes out. But then Griff goes and gets the beer, the cider that wins, and she's reading it, and he named the cider after her. It's Audrey. And, the mom sitting there, and, everyone gets it because it's a special occasion, even the high schoolers, because it's a special occasion. And the mom's swirling around in her mouth, and she goes, this just tastes like, and, Griff and Audrey, they couldn't even look at each other because of what Audrey wanted to call the cider. And that was like a laugh out moment for me, because I can just imagine them like, oh, Mom, please do not say it tastes like, or, sex or anything, because that's kind of, what those two had intended the flavorings about. For me, I was like, I almost want to go find a beer like that, or a cider, or an ale, or anything. Don't you? I mean, come on, we're beer drinkers.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a cider fan. So just when they started describing the ciders and things like that, and the food that she was making, all this, so it made me love this book even more. Her work in the restaurants, that kind of thing. But we did not mention one of my favorite parts. Part of his grand gesture was she told a story about the only time that she was happy that she got to cook was when her mom, or she had an easy bake oven, and she was baking all of the treats and things like that. And then she left to go for a camp or something, and her mom got rid of it. It was like the most horrible thing ever. But Griff did some eBay searching, and he actually found the exact same year and model and everything of an easy bake oven for her. And that was just like the moment. Like, 100% without a doubt that she's head over heels in that moment. And so is he, because who tracks down an easy bake oven just on a whim?
Yeah, not my husband.
To bring some of that happiness back to her, those happy memories, things like that. That was really great. There's a lot of stuff like that in this book. It made for a really fun read. There's a lot of funny moments. Grandpa, the cousins, giving him crap, all of it. It was all really funny. I really enjoyed their story throughout that. They had all kinds of up and downs, and they were really able to kind of talk everything through. And once, they had their little flare-ups or little heated moments, they still were able to talk things through. And I think that's one of my favorite parts of the book, because the communication is so good. There's so many misunderstandings and things like that in books that are so bad. How did you feel about the entire book overall?
And I agree with you on that. I just felt like whenever there's a lot of books, and you and I've discussed this, there's that lack of communication, and it's just like you get frustrated. And this one was when they had that moment where they were both starting to get frustrated. It senses like if he touched her or vice versa, they could just figure it out. Like he knew what she wanted, but he didn't really know that's what she wanted, and vice versa. I felt like they were just, they bounced each other's ideas, and then their emotions just worked. Like Griff was so hard with everybody, but when she came back and when she was there, it was just like she was like the grounding force. And then when she was there, she felt good about herself. Not like she didn't, but she felt good that she could use her culinary skills, and they appreciated it, and they were just this warm family, and she hadn't had that. And she always had like this, I felt at home in Vermont, and that was like where she was drawn to. And that's why I just, and the funny moments with the family, I'm all about family dynamics end of it, just because I come from a large family. So for me, it was just great. It was an amazing read. Griff is still, I mean, I can picture him now.
And I loved the very end. She really believed in farm to table and the rights of the farmers and things like that. And towards the very end of the book, she gets this call from this company who wants to start a farm to table, and they want her to kind of, head it up and make some rules and get the farmers. And she can be based in Vermont, and it really allows her to put both of her two passions, the farm and Griff, and then her culinary world. She really is able to bring those together. And it just kind of, it shows that even if she was technically giving up her dreams to move on the farm, there were still opportunities for her to do that, and kind of really not actually give up her dreams. And if there was a way to make it work, having both sides of it.
And I think that's what I like, is that he even said to her when everything was going down with the whole company, backing out of the cider purchase, he even told her, he was like, I will drive you down there to, do your pitch. I'll give you that time. Let's go. And she said, she's like, no, I thought about it, and she just didn't want to do it. She felt she was where she needed to be. And it wasn't something, she didn't want to spend 16 hours in a restaurant with no light and not be able to enjoy what she did. But then I liked how she described what she would want to do later on, like with her restaurant, just 60 people and, just this warm feeling. And I love restaurants and I love food. So it was just kind of like I could really picture it happening. And then when the end, and she gets that farm to table, and that one chef remembers her when she worked for the big company, and they kind of had this great idea. I just like that idea. The whole thing, it resonated with me. So it was great. Bummed it ended, but that's okay. That's just me. I could probably go on and on about Griff.
Oh, I know. I would love to read, 5 more books about them and the farm and the family and the ciders and the orchard, things like that. But, then that's not how it works. The next book is for June. It is called, what's it called? Steadfast. And it is out now, and sounds like it's really good. Can't wait to dive into that one. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for, kind of giving us a shout about reading along, talking about what we thought about the book. And I guess we will see you for our review of this book coming this weekend.
And enjoy it, guys. Follow us on our next Buddy Read.